There are three things that I want to go over today. First, I want to talk about your portfolio and how you can build a robust portfolio no matter what is happening in the world. Second, I want to talk about how do you prepare? How do you prepare your finances? How do you prepare your investments? That way you can be ready for whatever might happen in the future. And third, I want to talk about how do you capitalize, because market crashes and recessions create more millionaires than any other time, but you have to be prepared and you have to know how to capitalize. This is where things get fun, and you want to be the person who's a financial winner, not the person who's getting financially screwed. And the only way you can do that is if you know how to prepare and if you know how to capitalize. So let's start by talking about number one. How do you build a robust portfolio? A portfolio is all of your investment dollars here. How is your money allocated? Now, for the average person, the only way that they invest their money is through the 401k, and you might have a few different funds that give you exposure to different stocks. One fund might give you exposure to the general S&P 500. One fund might give you exposure to the general stock market. And maybe you have a third fund that's a little bit safer that only gives you exposure to the blue chip, very strong, stable companies. Now, when you do that, that is your portfolio. But the problem with a portfolio like that is a lot of times your portfolio is very heavily weighted in just United States stocks. So now if the general stock market goes down, if you see a stock market crash, well then your entire portfolio goes down. So if you want a portfolio that can protect you from anything, you want to have a portfolio that's built for anything. And that brings me to this, the all-weather portfolio. The all-weather portfolio is a portfolio allocation method that is designed to withstand rain, snow, and thunderstorms all at the same time. So it's a portfolio style, it's a way that you invest your money in different allocations. That way now you can protect yourself against anything. All weather. It was created by Ray Dalio, the founder of Bridgewater Associates. I've talked about him a number of times on our channel. He is the most successful hedge fund manager in history. He started Bridgewater Associates, which became the largest hedge fund in history. And the way that he was able to do that was by one, studying trends, and second, by investing money smartly. So he studied trends for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, understood what has happened in the past, and took the past to predict what would happen in the future. And it has made him and a lot of his clients a lot of money. I mean, Ray Dalio is a multi-billionaire now because of his principles and because of his methods. So let's start by talking about his all-weather portfolio. So Ray Dalio's all-weather portfolio has money invested in three categories: stocks, fixed income, and commodities, with 30% going to stocks, 55% going to fixed income, and 15% commodities. So you have these three general categories right here: stocks making up 30%, fixed income making 55%, and commodities making the other 15%. But then he divides it up a little bit more. So if we start with commodities, you have 15% here of your portfolio going to commodities. And what he says, if you want to build this all-weather portfolio that can withstand anything, ups and downs, then in this commodities, you want to have half of this, so 7.5% is going to gold. And then the other 7.5% is going to a mixed, diversified portfolio of commodities to protect you against anything. And then when it comes to fixed income, which makes up 55% of our portfolio, he also divides this up a couple ways as well. So you have about 15% of this, which I believe is right there, which will be going to intermediate term bonds. So treasury bonds, United States treasury bonds, and you're going to be investing 15% of your money into the intermediate term bonds and the other 40% into long-term treasury bonds, LTTB, long-term treasury bonds, 40% of your portfolio there, and then the other 30% here, which is going into stocks. You want this to be invested into United States companies, United States stocks, and you can diversify your portfolio here by just investing into an ETF that gives you exposure to the general stock market. So this, according to Ray Dalio, is an all-weather portfolio that can withstand pretty much anything. The second thing you gotta do is you need to be prepared. It's always funny to me to see how angry people get when somebody else starts talking about a potential market crash or why they're worried about a market crash. The reason why people get so angry when somebody else starts talking about a potential market crash is because they're so heavily invested in their portfolio. Chances are they might even be in the red, and they hate the idea of losing more money in their portfolio because they're not prepared for what might be coming next. But what's interesting is if you talk to a seasoned or professional investor, they love the idea of a market crash, because that means now you have the opportunity to come in and buy investments. You have the opportunity to buy assets for pennies on the dollar. But you have to be prepared, and that means you have to understand what's going on. So starting with the idea of being prepared, the first thing you got to do is you have to understand that market crashes happen. We see these type of cycles happen every 10 to 12 years. where you have a boom and then you have a bust. Now, over time, you have this upward trajectory of assets, but you have booms and busts and booms and busts and booms and busts. I mean, we saw this happen in 2020. We saw the stock market completely get obliterated until the Federal Reserve Bank opened up their money printer, and then they started pouring more money into the markets, which created the biggest crash and the fastest crash and then the biggest rally of the stock market ever. I mean, it was the fastest boom and bust that we've ever seen. But now we're starting to see the implications with that, with a lot of inflation and all of the issues in the economy because of what we did in 2020 and 2021. But you start to see these boom and bust cycles happen throughout time. We saw it happen in 2008. We also saw it happen in 2000 and 2001 when the dot-com bubble bursted. So the first thing you have to do is you have to understand that these type of cycles happen and they will continue to happen. I mean, if you go back centuries, the first recorded financial bubble was the tulip bubble in the Netherlands. I love talking about this because it's just so interesting that back in the Netherlands in the 17th century, you had a financial bubble around tulips. People thought that tulips, the flower, tulip bulbs, were going to be the most valuable commodity in the world. So some people started selling their homes. That way they could go out and buy one tulip bulb. So it all started with people starting to get really excited about flowers, these tulip bulbs, and then they started going up in price because there was a limited supply of them. Tulips aren't native to the Netherlands. And so when people started buying up all the tulips, all the financial people were looking at this saying, whoa, there's an opportunity here. What if we could buy tulips without actually buying a tulip? So they started creating these paper contracts to buy tulips. And now you had the financial markets investing in tulip bulbs, hoping that they could get rich on this whole tulip demand. So now the financial markets got involved and people started investing in tulip bulbs without actually owning any tulips. Nobody wanted to own the tulip. They just wanted to have the upside of owning a tulip. And this started to create this massive bubble around tulip prices because everybody on their version of Wall Street was buying tulips not to actually plant flowers, but to hopefully get rich quick. And this caused the price of tulips to skyrocket to the point where people were selling their homes to go out and buy a tulip bulb because they didn't want to miss out on this craze. And then all the flower people, all the flower shops said, wow, you're telling me that a tulip could be worth this much money? A tulip could be worth the price of a home? So then the flower shops had a massive auction to sell off some of their tulip bulbs. And they started the price of a tulip at the price of a home. And guess what? Nobody bought it, because nobody wanted to pay that much money for a tulip bulb. People just wanted to get rich off of the idea of a tulip price going up, but nobody actually wanted to own the tulip bulbs. And this ultimately burst the tulip bubble, and this was a craze known as tulip mania, and this was the first recorded financial bubble in history. So what you need to understand is that these types of booms and busts happen. The third thing that you want to do is capitalize on what's happening around you, and this is where things get fun. Now you're actually going to take action with the money that you have. But in order for you to do that, the first thing you have to do if you want to capitalize the right way is you want to make sure you're investing in your education. Because when it comes down to actually making money when a market crash happens, you have to be prepared and you have to know what you're going to do before it happens, because you have such a short time span where if you just start learning and you start researching and you start analyzing, you're going to miss out on some of the biggest opportunities. So you want to spend your time when things are good, understanding, preparing, and learning. So learning means now actually investing some of your time and your money into understanding what it is that you want to be invested in and how to actually invest your money. So one of the things that I do is I create a wish list for myself. Now I know a lot of people, when they talk about wish lists, they're talking about what they want to buy from Amazon or Gucci or Lululemon or Louis Vuitton. But when I talk about a wish list, I'm talking about which companies or assets that I want to own. So these are companies that I'm already spending time researching. These are companies that I've already spent time reading their earnings calls. These are the companies that I'm monitoring, and I'm just waiting for a good buying opportunity. Now, the reason why I don't share my personal wish list is because I don't want people just to buy whatever I'm looking at, because I have a different goal, different time span, different horizon, different everything, different strategy than you. And if people just start buying whatever I buy in 6 months, the stock is down, you're gonna say, Jaspreet, I hate you because of you. I bought the stock and it went down, but I have a different time span and different goal than you. So this is where I want you to be financially educated. My goal is not to tell you what to do, but for you to be financially educated. That way you can make smart decisions based off of yourself and your own strategy. So the first thing I do is I create my own wish list, and then I'm always investing in my own education, right? So YouTube videos, books, classes, spend some time learning how to invest your money, whether it's stocks, whether it's real estate, whether it's startups. You start looking at where it is that you want to invest, and then you start researching how you do that. That way now, when the opportunity comes, you're already ready. Now the question is, how and what do you buy? And the whole thing here is, When do you take advantage of this opportunity to come in and buy? There's a saying that goes, don't try to catch a falling knife. And the reason why that's so important in the stock market is because if we just try to diagram, let's just say a crash is this. How do you know when it's bottom? How do you know when you should buy? And the reason why so many people who try to time the market lose is because they can't time the top and they can't time the bottom. So what ends up happening for so many people trying to perfectly time the market is they see the stock market come down to here and then they say, oh yes, this is the perfect opportunity for me to come in and buy, but I know it's going to go a little bit lower. And the market goes even lower, and now they get greedy. They say, oh yeah, this is a great opportunity for me to buy, but I'm just gonna wait a little bit longer because I think the market's gonna go down even more. And so then the market goes down even more, and now you're like, oh man, if I bought it today, I'll make so much money, but why buy today? The whole market is collapsing. Let me just wait a little while longer. Let it go down a little bit more. And then it starts to go up a little bit. And now you see here, now you say, man, this is way too expensive. I don't want to buy it here. This is just a dead cat bounce. People are just putting dumb money into the market. It's going to go back down. And then it goes up to here. And now you say, oh no, it's not going back down. Did I just miss the opportunity? It's way too expensive to buy here. I mean, it was just so much cheaper not that long ago. It's gonna go back down, and now you wait, and now it's up here, and now you say, oh, well, I guess I missed the bottom. You missed the opportunity to buy. You see this type of emotions happen anytime people try to perfectly time the market. It's the same thing at the top. Nobody wants to actually sell it at the top because you always think it's gonna go higher. And that's why people get greedy. They don't sell when it's high and they don't buy when it's low because you let your emotions get in. Instead of trying to perfectly time the market, what you want to do is you just need to know what is a good price and a good opportunity for you. If you enjoyed this short clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to start generating passive income, our team put together an amazing guide that goes over what passive income is, how to start generating passive income, and different passive income strategies. These are things that you can start doing even if you don't have a lot of money. So if you want to read this free guide on how to start generating passive income for free, all you got to do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.